Hello, hello, hello. I think we're live. We're about to be in like 60 seconds. Hello, hello, hello. I think we're live. We're about to be in like 60 seconds. And we'll just give it a couple minutes for some people to join. Hello, hello. I think we're live. We're about to be in like 60 seconds. That's all right. Let's see how this is looking. And we'll just give it a couple minutes for some people to join. Hello, hello. Oh, let me look at the chat stuff too below if there's chats. Right. Okay. Let's see how this is looking. And we'll just give it a couple minutes for some people to join. Hello, hello. Oh, let me look at the chat stuff too below if there's chats. Right. Okay. Let's see how this is looking. And give it a couple more minutes still. Let some people trickle in. Let me make sure I don't miss any questions. So I'm going to open it up on my phone too. Okay, nice. See myself looking at my phone. I let one person know. Let me let somebody else. Yep. See the message. Thank you. All right, we're 1 minute in, but I guess I'll just start so people can kind of trickle in as we go. Dude, somebody said, please share the link. Come on. One of my friends said, please share the link. This is so funny. Okay, I will share the link with you. Why do I have to send you a link? You've already got everything you need. Here, and I'll switch over my screen in a minute, everybody. You know, it's all about clicks nowadays. You know, you need as few clicks as possible. People forget that. So like, dare I stream and somebody needs me to click for them. That's live, copy link. Okay. Well, we'll begin. I'm just going to stick on TradingView for a hot second because I know some people will probably trickle in here for a bit. And Bitcoin's the easiest to talk about, so we're going to talk about Bitcoin for a minute. So I mean, you know, there's a saying, the trend is your friend. There's a lot of noise. For those of you that don't know, this is one of my indicators. It's private. You can follow me and DM me and you can get access to it. If there's something you don't like, you can basically toggle everything on and off. I am a big fan of, when I can find it, right? Fixed range volume profile. We'll just go here. It's kind of a big trend, but that's all right. I'll explain that for some of those lines. So I'm actually going to move this up because this really isn't relevant. We're just going to go right here. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. So when I turn back my indicator on, you're going to see a bunch of lines. You're going to see a short-term, medium-term, and long-term VWAP, as well as point of control. The point of control or fixed range, sorry, I should say fixed range volume profile, it will consist of basically something like this. It doesn't have to be as complicated for some people, but This is kind of the highest volume node right here. Right now you can see on the daily, we're at a value area high. This line right here is a value area low. The best thing I was ever taught was basically the trend is your friend. When in doubt, zoom out. And also don't bet against the trend. And in this regard here, I'm a big fan of horizontal levels, level to level, level to level. You know, why should I talk about the bottom or why should I talk about the top? Like, let's just focus on the levels. So the fixed range volume profile, you can draw a couple. There is a time and place to use a couple. I'm on the daily, so I don't want to get too caught up in the weeds of different time frames. I will zoom out here in a sec. But there are simply 3 levels here. In theory, there's a 4th one as well, right? I could be marking them out. I don't need to. Or right here at the top. Is this an area where we might be rejecting? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe it's an area that we're going to break through on, right? Right? Everyone keeps shorting. People think that, but I mean, this would be a painful trend to have shorted. If you're a good scalper, obviously it would have worked out really well. Oh, I will shout out this free indicator right here, Watson envelope. I've been using it for like 5 years. It's excellent. You don't have to use it, but I love it. There's a place for that. I could spend 20, 30 minutes talking about that. But anyways, one of the things to note when you start to retest levels or support resistance is the more times you test it, the weaker that level gets, which means it could break. So 4 hour on the daily, right? I'm showing you kind of that volume profile over an extended period of time, right? Basically end of March. I don't know what's going to happen, you know, geopolitically or anything, you know, like that. Anything could happen. So maybe this is where we're going to reject. And I'm a big fan of show me the charts and I'll show you the news. Something like that, right? Basically, some people are excellent at trading based on news and others are just like, let me chart it. Let me chart it. Sometimes there is news or often there is news that coincides with the chart, but it's really easier to just trade the chart. It's a system. If you're taking a fundamental investment into a company or to a stock, right? Like obviously there might be a reason behind why you expect that company to grow. That's a little different. So I'm just saying that for simplicity's sake. Let me move back over to my indicator. I will eventually move away from this because I'm a big fan of data and logging data. And I really recommend, we'll hop over to Supabase here in a little while, but I'm a big fan of PostgreSQL or SQL for those of you that might not know what I'm talking about. It's just a great thing for tabular database, you know, expanded memory. If you get into tabular machine learning, it's excellent. So you'll see here I have all these levels. Anything you see with the POC, point of control, these are all in different time frames, value area low, and I got some VWAPs. Is it messy? It's a little messy. It can be cleaned up, but I know what it is, so it works for me. But again, level to level. Even here on the 4 hour, I could really just look at the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks basically, and we can just follow that trend. So that's basically been Bitcoin. I'm kind of expecting it to go higher. I don't see why we won't right now. People, and when I say higher, it means like here, right? I think we could break it. Like you can look at leverage and, you know, what's max pain, like it go higher. People keep trying to short every dip. It really hasn't worked. So that's kind of where I am at the moment for that. What did I want to move to? There was something I wanted to look at. Oil. Well, actually, let me go to this one. Oil has been a great one. I haven't traded it, but I keep calling it out on Twitter, and I'll go over to Twitter in a bit, and then people just roast me. But again, you know, show me the charts and I'll show you the news. Like, it's just been a nice big trend. It's, again, this looks noisy. We'll just turn it off for a sec. I'm on the daily, but it's just been a really, really nice. It's been a nice channel. You can use a parallel channel. You can draw your own lines. You can do whatever you want. But here we'll go to 4 hour. It might even look a little cleaner. But I'm a big fan of mean reversion. Some people like to top blast. Some people like to basically buy into strength, buy into weakness. To me, that risk to reward doesn't always make sense. If the trend is trending down, right, I'd rather wait for a retest and then maybe I'll consider a short. Oil's been kind of clean where it's just kind of been ranging, right? It's just kind of been ranging. This is in the middle. I don't want to touch it, right? There's really no reason to touch it. This was a great time to short. Yeah, sometime there, sometime over there to long. So anyways, it's just something I'm watching. A little more of a volatile, chart to be watching. Obviously, any shock, any black swan that could scare some people. And we're gonna go to my chart. This one I've liked, not my chart. We're gonna go to my most recent trade that I'm still holding, and I had actually waited all quarter for this to hit. The reason why I waited was this candle right here, and maybe I should zoom in for that. Sorry, guys. I mean, that kind of maybe helped, but it also kind of just made stuff look really big. But yeah, basically I waited, and this took basically all of quarter one. It's not like I planned this, right? But in quarter one of this year, kind of waited for this 167. There was a value area low and then this wick, and it basically just cleared it out and just went straight up. And it was super, super easy. It was kind of an easy trade, low risk to reward. You just had to be patient. But I'd rather be patient and take less trades. I like to think of myself as like a sniper, right? I want to take less trades. I know some people that are like amazing scalpers, and kudos to you. Like, you can trade for me, right? If you're a scalper, I would love for you to trade for me on that sort of intraday action, because there's a time and place for that. And here, I will go to my profile now, and we can take a look just so you can see what I'm talking about. I got to change over this view. 1 minute. 1 minute. So yeah, here we go. Yeah. Again, I don't recommend leverage. I'm willing to trade with some leverage. It's a lot easier. Stocks are also low risk. You can see right here, I think I took this like 10 minutes before the stream started, 15 minutes. But I've been holding this for about 6 days. Great level. The trade came to me. I basically gotten to it at the bottom of that local area right around here, right? So yeah, took a hot minute, but it worked out. And right now I'm holding. This technically would probably be a good time for me to close or sell. So I will reevaluate that later. Thought I changed something here, but we'll. That's why. Okay. Yeah. So these levels auto update. I'll show you what the fixed range volume profile here kind of looks like. This you got to pull all the time, right? You just have to, or you got to pull it on multiple levels or on multiple ranges, which is good. There's a time and place for it. There always is a time and place for it. The reason why I built and here you can kind of see it right there, right? 198 or so, 199, right around my entry. But also it's always adjusting as each day, as each candlestick goes on, these levels change a little bit. The volume profile, where price action happens, where a lot of the volume is concentrated and happens, it changes. So I programmed it that way so that these levels auto adjust. I don't do anything. I don't draw these levels. I don't touch it. It just does it for me. That's the way you want it, right? And I really want to emphasize like risk, right? Risk management, risk to reward, and like time, patience, right? They say patience pays. So like that's what I recommend also for this, like any trade. Take your time. Don't force a trade, and we'll see what goes on. So, I mean, yeah, even that, we got a VWAP right here, 195, there's still a good cluster of levels, but I'm really only focused on these from this point of control up. That's about it. So, but the market's extremely strong. So like the only reason I would be closing this trade, which I still might, is I'm in profits and I'd rather just re-long on a dip. That's what I would rather do. You know, if I see this come back down, if I see this come back down here, even to 210, great. Not only did I capture profits, I will plan a re-entry. Maybe the market conditions will change. Maybe something that's going on in the world will change, and I won't, right? So, or, you know, I won't re-long. Just because I'm getting out of a trade and closing my long, that doesn't mean I want to short, right? I think that's the other thing where people overtrade sometimes, is that they see these things and they're like, okay, can I long it? Can I close my trade? Can I short it? Can I close my short? Can I re-long? You know what I mean? That's almost too much. Again, some people are amazing at it. That's just not me. So yeah. Let's see what else I got here. I got a little community, not big. But you know, I publish some stuff when I remember. To be honest, when I remember, right? Like here, I should probably do this one for we'll do it right now. Copy link, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I should have just done it earlier, but that's fine. But anyways, yeah. So sometimes I share stuff. You could kind of consider, oh, this was a great trade. I forgot about this. Yeah, I held this one for 22 days. But it's kind of like my trade journal. You know, some of the stuff I published, I went over some of these things last week, some of my machine learning things. Yeah, I mean, here's a great example, right? I'm going to show you the database momentarily. But yeah, when I'm doing some of these things right here, like some of the signals you might see or some of the things you might even see for the indicator, that doesn't mean that's the trade you take. It just means something significant is happening. So when that is going on, and like for me here, I've got a variety of time frames. Sorry, not my hand. I was pointing at the screen like you could see my hand. But I've got a bunch of things going on here. So I am trying to find the best probability trades, right? For that time frame or other stuff. And then, you know, there's some things like cross-analyze when that's going on. But, and when was this? Probably, oh yeah, this was back in March. But I constantly need to pull new data and work with things. So I will show it to you right here. So everyone's like, you know, SQL. Actually, it's great. Supabase is amazing. So you should learn it. It's a great skill. It's way better than spreadsheets. I don't even build spreadsheets. I write Python code that will build the spreadsheets for me now. But I don't do any manual spreadsheet work anymore. So you'll never see me. You'll rarely see me unless I need to clean up something. But most of the time, once I've standardized and I know everything's clean, do it. And then SQL here. So kind of like my indicator I was showing you, you can see some of these tops, reversals, right? Bottoms, compressions, stuff like that. This goes 24/7. I don't have to do a thing. This just goes. And there's probably like a couple hundred rows that goes over to the right. So a ton of variables. Right here, you're just seeing some of the very basic stuff that kind of comes in. And then it's something like this where, you know, I might need something like this, right? So sometimes I need some sort of like query, right? Some sort of SQL query. That's where I can take that data and I can kind of decide what sort of format I want it in. Sometimes there's data that I immediately want to filter out. So that's where this is just like, it's just better than Excel. And you can use SQLite or SQLite. That's something more local. It works great. Most people should just use that. If you're working with data or you're new to some of this stuff, like go right for that. You know, if you're just jumping into Python, you're just jumping into like database files, .db, .parquet, whatever, right? SQLite also just does a wonderful job. And then you get stuff like this where, you know, I can kind of control some of my measurements and things that I'm looking at. And then, you know, then we end up with a bunch of data like this. And the front end is for some people that it's also color coded, which it works really, really well. I've got a guy, he's the one that got me into this, but he trades a color coded system. I don't recommend it, but data works beautifully. And anyways, front end is for him or for other people that like that. I like the back end. I'm kind of data first, and then obviously it jumps in and you get information like this, right? And there's this thing called walk forward testing. Oh, here we go, right here. Perfect. So, you know, like a lot of people focus on back tests, or you see a lot of posts on back tests. I'm sorry, back tests don't mean anything. I could basically spend enough time and I can code or collect data. Basically, it's really easy to skew or be biased or manipulate the data to make a back test look accurate. Why? Because you know what's happening. You are back testing. You know what information is happening, and you know what's coming forward as you test basically those outcomes. But basically, yeah, like a machine learning walk forward test is kind of like, how well does this survive on future unseen data, right? It's looking for patterns. It's looking for something to recognize confluence, right? So like confluence in terms of trading might be, oh, there's a really significant level at the bottom, right? At the bottom of Bitcoin. For me, it might be whatever, a VWAP, right? There's a VWAP level, anchored VWAP level down there. There is a point of control. So that very large centered, you know, here, I'll give you an example, right? A really big high volume node. So if I see some things like that, there's two things, right? Oh, but the market is quite strong, right? Do I want to bet against the market? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I do. It's generally not a good idea, right? So like here, you know, it's just kind of in a range, value area high. You got, well, right now we're sitting on top of like a short-term point of control. It's kind of support at the moment, right? So anyways, when you're doing these walk forward tests, and machine learning is essentially studying for patterns, and it loves tabular data. It loves numbers to look at, right? We're trying to make sure that there is no sort of, it's called, you want good data hygiene. You don't want to leak the future to it. You want it to be able to deduct and make decisions on its own. It's kind of like playing poker, right? Like, you know, everyone thinks of like royal flush. Royal flush is the best hand, right? Well, when you're doing that, you don't want everyone to know that you have a royal flush, but you want to try and make the best trade, or you kind of want to build the biggest pot so that you have the biggest win, right? So sometimes you need confluence to line up, right? You need people to think that they have a better hand than you, but you actually have a better hand than them. You kind of look like you're weak and you bet small, and then more people pile in. It's the same thing that happens with momentum trading. It's the same thing where, like, last week I spoke about betting against the crowd, right? BitTensor, Tau was flying. That was a short signal. After 2 weeks of that sort of hype cycle, I started to short. And then the same thing with Algorand, right? So sometimes I am looking for a bunch of confluence, both technicals as well as like what's fundamentally going on, either for the business or for the protocol. And then when I have a bunch of statistical data as well, I'm looking for that confluence because I want to play the best poker hand, right? I don't want to be gambling. Some people gamble, and gambling is not the way to do it. I'm sorry, it's not the way to do it. I know many of you like to gamble. I know perps, they tingle, that sort of gambler's brain, even if you don't know it. But I like to try and have the most methodical, like consistent framework, like a math formula, right? When A plus B plus C equals this, right? That's when I want to take a trade. Not just because something's going down or something's going up. Do I necessarily want to jump into a trade? So anyways, you can kind of come through here. You can see some of my stuff. And yeah, just join in. It's for free. So that covers the majority of the data. Well, we'll start looking at some stuff today. Yeah, how is MRAM doing? MRAM. So this has been running all morning. So I'm a big fan of CBD. I did a nice big shout out to some order flow software, because TradingView can only get you so far. You'll get the most up-to-date data on your exchange, or you could say pricing, right, as well as on your broker. But if you really want to go a layer deeper, you really want to consider order flow software. There's some amazing people out there. I actually need to dedicate a time to somebody, to two people. They're just incredible. But I'd say like the industry standard order flow software is called Quant Tower. And then there's also one called ATAS, ATAS. I like to use ATAS, but Quant Tower is also very, very good. So this is a more simplified version so that I don't need to look at charts or look at a bunch of moving things. It's just me being able to track the cumulative volume delta. So there's a common theme here, right? It's volume, 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 volume. It's not volume on TradingView. It's not volume on the exchange, right? It's actual volume. Sometimes it's perp volume. Sometimes it's perp and spot ratio, right? What's going on, discount premium. But in this case, these are kind of like small caps or some micro caps, just things that popped off today that I just wanted to check and follow. Actually, let me remove this one because this one is not working or whatever. There's no data coming in on it. But yes, so I actually want to know, and I'm going to sound like, I'm saying the same thing over and over again, like a broken record, but that's how important it is, because that's what your trading process should be like. You should be doing the same thing over and over. You should be looking at the same thing over and over. You should be trying to take your trades from the same sort of psychology and strategy over and over. So in this case, MRAM actually popped off today. It's been doing kind of well. Not that I bought it, but like we've got positive, at least since I have been running and tracking CVD, we've got almost, 1,928,000 net shares of positive CVD right now. So basically buyers have kind of been dominating. Granted, sometimes you get things where absorption happens, right? So you can have positive, what am I doing here? You can have positive price action. I mean, this is just positive, right? Yeah, easy, just up. And why did it go up? Well, obviously because the bulls, the buyers, have been dominating the order book, right? They're just buying. We got something down here like VCX. Well, changes, but some of these things say sell absorbed. Sell absorbed means that, and at least, for as of today, basically, or as of recently, selling has been coming in, but just because there has been a bunch of sells coming in, that doesn't necessarily mean that price was fully going down. Sometimes it's absorbed. Same thing with Bitcoin, right? You'll have all this volatility and then you'll see a squeeze and then price resettles, right? So, not much changes. But this is a great tool. I custom designed this one. And even then, this is a light version. I'm actually working on an interactive broker one, which works really, really well. But yeah, this still does the job. So I really recommend, though, if you want that edge, kind of focus a little bit on order flow software. And then we'll just go back over this. So I'm going to just focus on the big market caps for today. The main ones that I was interested in today. Yeah, I mean, there's MRAM. So let's see what my ratings gave it. So all of this data pulls from about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 different sources. And then again, I like to have, oh, you know what? Let me do, okay, good. I'm looking over here at this right side. I always like to focus on, all right, what's the top driver, but also what's the counter thesis, right? Because there's nothing worse than trading or the opposite happens, where you think that you knew what you were doing, but yeah, the opposite played out, right? Good news comes out and sometimes you're late to the trade and it goes down. So this is an example, right? That doesn't mean that it won't keep moving up. Obviously it kept moving up, but it's good to always ask yourself, I'm taking this trade. I want to go long. I think the price is going to go up. But what if the price is going to go down? So at the time, yeah, it says 52%, right? I don't know when that was measured. Probably from Friday's close to now, I would guess. But it doesn't really matter. And yeah, it says health is not dominant, but that's the case with a lot of these companies, right? A lot of these AI companies, infra, AI bottlenecks, components, blah, 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 photonics, semiconductors, unless they're mega caps a lot of these companies are in a period of growth, extreme growth, taking on more financing, more debt, right? Expanding, or basically, you know, their profit margins are a lot lower because everything that they do is being invested back into their business. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Just because you have this one actually has a little bit better health. Like we could look at here, we'll look at shorts. No. Let me find one. That's got to be OTC. Okay, so this was a killer one. This one I actually called on Friday to short. And here, you'll see it probably already in my history. Here, you want to look through my history? Yeah. QMC. Oh, yeah, I was looking at Stark. Stark is it pumped with Zcash. I was kind of looking at shorting that as well. But anyways, yeah. So right. Oh, not AAOI, AIIO right here. But it pumped again today. Had a nice big merger, you know, almost. It was an easy trade, very easy trade. Came up. Did I know where the top was? No. That's where CVD comes in, right? There's a time and place where CVD, you see something like, you know, negative delta, negative, 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 sells coming in, sells coming in, sells coming in. Eventually it kind of flatlines. All that extreme buying pressure, all that extreme selling pressure slows down. That, I don't actually care about how big the number is. I care about when I see the speed, right? It's actually the change in velocity, right? Sellers are slowing down. Sellers are slowing down. Will things change, right? We'll look at click and we'll look at ODYS in a sec. But this was a perfect example of me, you know, taking a peek at all of this stuff. So like, finally it stopped, it rolled over, boom. I was actually watching it this morning and I didn't see it even taking off. There's so many tickers, you can't keep track of everything, right? Right back up, but guess what? This is, to me, this is a double tap. This is a retest of the range. We are sitting on top, but even then I don't care, right? There's no perfect rule set. Just gonna get rid of that because it's way too noisy. But I mean, most simply put, right? Maybe we'll go higher. But is this where I would short? That's my rule set, right? Mean reversion. Could I short here with comfort? For sure. Would I set a stop loss? Yes, absolutely. Right? Where do I want? 10%. I mean, this is a stock, so could I handle it? Absolutely. What are you doing here? What are you doing? I don't think I authorized you to do that. Why are you moving? What in the world? I don't know why my webcam decided to, it looks like it's been hijacked, to be honest. Blue? I've never seen a blue LED. What's going on here? I'm about to tape you. You want to be taped? You want to be taped? Why are you moving? Dude, stop. Well, somebody asked me to move my, I don't know what you mean by covered, to be honest. You want me to stack some books up? Here, I'm going to set it here. Can you stop moving? Why are you moving? Okay. It's like holding a mic now. Okay, well, whatever. That is that. Anyways, that's the top of the range. So long story short, sorry, I got distracted with the webcam. Yeah, that's a short to me. Maybe it'll go higher. They just had some sort of merger or deal, but we don't really know what's going on with them. So we looked into it. That one we like deep dived to see if it was like a legit like quality merger. They sold a bunch of shares to the company. There's also like there's some diluted shares and warrants, stock warrants to be sold. So yeah, I don't know. So and then what's going on here now? So this is what I just showed last week, just looking at some Paradex options. Yeah. Now it's green again. So whoever just hijacked my webcam, not cool. Not cool. Now I gotta fix it. So don't do that again. Can I zoom into this? Oh, here we go. So this is a constant. We'll start it up again. We'll cancel it. Boom. Boom. Now you got me extra distracted. Okay. So yeah, just here looking at some options, right? That's kind of what I like, to be honest. That's my favorite thing on Paradex. I like to see it here because it's organized how I want to see it. I actually could like, have trades executed or write a script that could, submit trades. And I kind of like to look and study the spreads, right? Kind of look at studying the spreads. If I'm going to trade an option, I probably, unless I'm going to sit on the books for a while, if I'm going to be a resting bid order or a resting sell order, I will, here I can see the last trade for that one. So somebody took a position there. But yeah, I want like a tight spread, of course, right? Obviously, if you're going to be placing limit orders and you just want to wait, a spread is great for you. So here, let me just cancel that so I can look at this without it changing too quickly. Just looking at all the last fills. Yeah, some of these spreads are massive. So huge opportunity if you start placing like orders on the books, especially when volatility hits, and then obviously getting filled at a good spread. 6% is tight. That's great if you're going to mark it in. Scroll up here since we're right around this region, right? Closer to being in the money or at the money. Yeah, we got a good number of trades here. 13, 11%, stuff like that. Yeah. So you can also find this code. This is public. I published it a couple months ago. If you message me on GitHub. Sorry, not GitHub. If you message me on X, I'll direct you to the link. And yeah, I'd say that's about it here. So I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I'm kind of bullish on Bitcoin right now still. I think options are great. Granted, you know, you can see the expiration here for the end of the month. So if it was up to me, I'd probably be buying something in this range, right? Right in here. Well, sorry, I should say I'd be buying calls, right? Or I would be selling puts if I thought the price was going to be going higher. Or you can hedge and you can do a mix of stuff. So yeah, I'd say that about covers everything, guys. So as I previously said, like take your time. Take your time. Don't force a trade. This is going up to the top of a range for the third time. So for me, I'm expecting this to break out. Each time support and resistance is tested, things become a little bit weaker, right? I'm not a big fan of like candlestick types or head and shoulders or weird wedges or double tap and blah, 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 right? To me, I'm just looking at the levels and it's likely looking that the price is going up. So that's the best way for me to summarize it here today. So alrighty, everyone, thank you. Sorry for the camera stuff. Not sure what happened. The thing just started moving. So I don't know how many minutes that went on for. I don't even have anything installed for the thing. Like it's just the pure camera. So I have no idea how many minutes that was. But whoops. Alrighty. Thanks everyone. We'll talk soon. Bye.